Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're here to do a very different type of video, and we're doing it because I actually got this request as one of my comments to make this video, and I thought it was an interesting video to make that I don't think anybody's made a video like this before on YouTube that I've ever seen. So I figured it might be interesting for those of you guys who like stuff like this. You guys know on this channel, I love local multiplayer stuff. I love having people over. I love playing multiplayer games and all that kind of stuff. So this list is about showing you guys my top 20 things, whether it's gaming related or tech related in that kind of realm, that I like to play with people 3 players and up. So, and that's of course things that I own. So we're talking about, things that are fun to play with other players, local multiplayer style that we're known for on this channel, that I love to do on this channel. It's why I love having people over and why I build my arcade and why I build my board game room and all that kinds of stuff, because I love playing things with friends and family and stuff like that. So today, thank you for the, unfortunately I don't remember the name because it actually was a while ago and I'm finally getting to this video, but shout out to you for letting me know about making a video like this. Hopefully you enjoy it if you catch this video and everybody else, so let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech, going for a brekkie is the gaming tech, gaming tech is the gaming tech, gaming techie.
Alright guys, so the first one we're actually going to start out with is this little guy right here, coming in at number 20, and that is the Playdate. I don't know how many of you guys have heard of this little console. I did do a review on it. I still have to do my full-on top 20 games for it. Let's see if we can get some better lighting on it so you can see, because unfortunately it's not backlit. But you can see here all the different games on here. And why would I do a console like this to play with more than 3 players? Or 3 players and above? How is this going to work? Well, actually, there's a lot of games on here because this system is so unique and so portable. It makes it really easy to just take this system with you and just play with 4 players sitting on the couch or stuff like that. And they have a lot of unique games that a lot of people haven't seen before, especially with this crank that you use to kind of move it around and play certain games. You guys know all about the Playdate, and there's a lot of different games on here. For example, Greed. That you can play, that lets you play with 4 players, that you're doing different things. Like in Greed, I believe it's like about rolling dice and pushing your luck and trying to get the most amount of points, and you can rotate through passing this console along with 4 different players, which I think is really cool. So even though this is mostly a thing that people look at for 1 player because you're using it in your own hands, it actually makes itself a really cool toy to showcase to your friends when they come over, because there's a lot of games that let you play with 4 players and it's really easy to rotate around. And again, it makes the system really unique. A lot of your friends probably haven't seen a system like this before, and it's going to bring them back to the days of the Game Boy and stuff like that. So it's definitely one that I think is really cool to show off with your friends. It is coming up at the bottom of the list because of the nature of it, but still really cool. The Playdate at number 20. The next one here coming in at number 19 is Drop Mix. I don't know how many of you guys remember Drop Mix. It's made by Harmonix, and people who make Rock Band. And I have a little shrine over here that I still have because I still love this game, even though they took support out of it. I'm lucky to still have an Android tablet that I have right here, and I was able to download the APK and still get all of the cards ready to go, even if I don't own all of them yet, in case I do own them one day, because I'm working through getting all the cards. I do have a lot of them and most of them, but there's still a couple of packs I don't have. And the Android tablet lets you easily get those files, even though it was taken offline. And I could still get it to work on my 3D tablet, my LumenPad 2 that I've done a review on, all about 3D. Love that thing. And it actually works really, really well with Drop Mix. You can see it here on the side. You have here, right here, ready to connect. And this lets you play music games, which is really cool. You can see it's now connecting here, ready to go. And now you're ready to play. And you can play this game with up to 4 players, doing all of these different things. Of course, now we're getting a bunch of notifications on the tablet. What else is new? So that's going to drive me insane. But you can see here that you can play all these different things. You have all these different modes on here. You can see versus mode that they had on here for 4 players, party mode, and freestyle mode. Now, for those of you guys who don't know exactly how this works, I'm going to go ahead and just drop a card in here. Like if I take one of my cards in here, you can see different areas for it. And depending on where you play it, depends on what it does. Like the green area does the piano version of this song, as you can see here. And then it plays, it lights up. And then you can see it is downloading the song. Boom, now it's playing. There you go. Now it's playing that song in the background. And then what's cool is you can add other mixes to it. So if we take a couple of cards here, let's see what we have. Now we got the red Miss Jackson. We mix it here. And now we got the Black Eyed Peas card. Boom, boom, pow. How is this all going to sound all together? So you can hear that. And that's how it kind of goes on here. It's really, really cool that you can mix all of these cards up and kind of do your own thing here. It really makes a fun experience. I do have a JBL light up speaker here that also lights up and is the Bluetooth speaker that I usually use instead of just using the speakers off of that, so it really sounds good. But when we have parties and stuff like that, I kind of have this laid out so people can actually use it and mix their own songs. And again, it's not something your friends have ever seen before, but then also you can bring it to the table and play their actual game modes that are designed for 4 players as well, which makes it a really fun time. So Drop Mix coming in at number 19. Now this next one here coming in at number 18 is not a surprise to many people, and that is the Quest 3. The Quest 3, I love showing VR to new people, and yes, even though it's one person at a time in VR, which is why it's further down this list, there's actually a few games out there, which I've done a video on, local multiplayer games on the Quest, where one person may be on the Quest and everybody else may be using their phones to play an interactive game, and then you take turns in VR. Or there's games that are like pass and play, like the bowling game that I've showed off before, where you can, do a few frames and then the next person goes and the next person goes. Or you can play Beat Saber, where you're each rotating in the same song and trying to get the highest score. So there's still some value here for local multiplayer, and there's actually more of it coming out soon. And I can't wait for the Quest 3S to kind of get that, to get the cheaper version of the Quest, so I can actually not only have a second Quest here to showcase to you guys to review, but also be able to do local multiplayer more, because then that means I have 2 Quest headsets in the house, and when someone else comes over, we can both be in there playing local multiplayer stuff together, and co-location multiplayer experiences that keep coming out. But for right now, the reason it's on this list is mostly because there are certain games out there that I've done a list on for local multiplayer games on the Quest that do things like that, where you can have one person in the headset either rotating in for high scores or playing the game, like bowling and Beat Saber and stuff, or games that you're in the headset and everyone else is using their phones playing interactive games. I actually wish there was more games like that, because there's not that many, but the Quest 3 coming in at number 18. The next one on this list, coming in at number 17, is the Pong table from Arcade1Up, specifically Warlords. There is nothing like playing this game of Warlords with 4 players with 4 different spinners on here. This is exactly why I still keep this thing around, because it's very hard to have 4 spinners on an arcade machine. And Warlords, without a spinner is not as much fun. And the fact that you can play this on here and have, a bunch of people play it, as you can see here, if we hit the start button here, you can see that you move your piece here and you're trying to basically keep this from hitting the other side, which is awesome. You're trying to protect your castle, hitting this little ball that's going around against the computer, dodging it, moving it around. I'm doing this one-handed with the camera, so I'm terrible, but you guys get the idea. You're trying to save your castle. This guy's wrecking me right now. And playing this 4 players is so addicting, so much fun. It's one of those games that is perfect for a gamer and for someone who likes local multiplayer. So Warlords, and you also have Pong on here as well, but Warlords is definitely my go-to. And the spinners work really well for this. Yeah, fantastic game for 4 players and local multiplayer game. And this blue guy really is going after me. All right, so the next one here coming in at number 16 is my Mega Touch. Mega Touch is one of my favorite things because it allows for local leaderboards and playing with 4 players depending on what game you're actually playing. Mega Touch is something that came around, back in the early 2000s at the bars before iPads and everything were a thing. And this has the newest version of the operating system on here, 2014, the one that they last came out with before, things were kind of removed and iPads kind of took over. So this is the latest version of the software with all the newest games and all the classics that we remember. You got puzzles, card games, quiz and word strategy, all that kinds of stuff. And then you have games on here that, a lot of people know, like Photo Hunt and stuff like that you can play with 4 players to kind of be the last one with the most amount of points. Or you can just compete against the high leaderboards to try and get your name on the leaderboard, which is also really fun. Different ones use different buttons. Like this one here, you can see is like a rolling type game where you can play with up to 4 players on here, which is really cool. Like I said, there's some that are 4 players, there's some that aren't. This is Beer Pong on here. This one's for 2 players, but there's a lot of different versions. And again, some of them let you play 4 players. And even if they don't, all these games have local leaderboard support, so it makes it fun to play, games like this. And I'll show you guys here one now real quick. So you can see Photo Hunt on here, as you can see, and then you can go ahead and hit start. And then you're obviously looking at the differences. This is like one of the most iconic games from back in the day. For the Mega Touch, you can see there's a dot right there. That's a difference. You're just looking for things that may be different than the other. And it's hard for me to do that while we're talking. There's an extra leg right there. But yeah, you're doing that, competing against a score, and then you get your name on the leaderboard. So again, it's very easy to play these games and then get your name on the leaderboard and compete against your friends around the home, which is really cool. Like you can see here, people have already done that when they played those games on here for me before, back in 2021 and 20 when I got this machine. So Mega Touch coming in at number 16. The next one here coming in at number 15 has got to be Retro Raccoons. This is a specific 4-player machine that's created by Incredible Technologies, the same people who make Golden Tee and stuff like that, which is really fun. But what's really unique about this game is that you actually started by putting a drink in here. So it was meant to be at bars and stuff like that. As you can see, my players lit up because it basically has like a little sensor there in the back on the bottom that as soon as a drink is in there, you know, that's how it knows how many players want to play. So 4 people can put their drinks in here, and then while you're playing these mini games, it tells you to take a shot or a drink if you lose, which is really fun. Again, it was meant for the bars and stuff like that. But it is a really cool game because it has over 40 mini games, and it plays very much like Mario Party. It throws 8 different mini games at you, and you have to be the one that wins all the most mini games. It's really fast-paced and fun with 4 players. Really, really fun. I wish that this game was supported more. Unfortunately, Incredible Technologies stopped supporting it. They used to release mini games every so often, but it only happened like twice, which I was really annoyed with, and then they stopped supporting it, and no more mini games are coming to it. I think we're left with 43. I was really hoping we got over 50 before all was said and done, but still, it is a fun machine, even if, you know, they obviously stopped supporting it and stuff like that. But I still have a fun time with it, and it's very unique in the arcade and not a machine that most people are going to have, especially now that it's not even being supported anymore. So really, really cool machine for 4 players. The next one here coming in at number 14 has got to be my light gun cabinet. Now, this may be replaced possibly soon. I'm thinking about it of upgrading this to a 32-inch screen instead of a 22-inch screen that I've had for a while, but we'll see. It depends. I'm trying to work with Game Room Solutions because that's where this cabinet came from, to see if they want me to do a review on their 32-inch one like I just did on their 4-player machine that I did on a previous video. But you can see here that the PC, even though it looks really nice on the side, I'm not going to lie, doesn't fit on the inside. Because obviously the height of it and stuff just doesn't fit. It would fit on the 32-inch one, which is another reason I would get the 32 inches. So I can hide this PC, even though, again, it has the nice LED colors that I got. This is running a 4060 in here, so it has the white look, and I think it looks good. I don't think anybody's going to complain that it's sitting here. And it's on legs, so it's rised off the floor and everything. So it actually has a really cool look to being on the floor and not being inside the cabinet to kind of show it off, which I don't actually mind. But regardless, like I said, I'm thinking about getting a 32-inch screen, but regardless, the reason that it's in this video is because it can play arcade games with 2 players on the light gun games, but there's also certain games on here that let you play 4 players as well. That let you chase high scores and stuff like that, but it is really fun to kind of rotate the gun around with 1 player. For example, like Point Blank, you can come in here and play Point Blank and rotate between 4 players and stuff like that. And try to get the high scores. And there's other games that do the very same thing where you're chasing your high scores with 4 players. You can do 2 players, and then once they get their high scores, then 2 other players come in. So it's just a very easy arcade machine to kind of rotate 4 players in, whether it's 1 person playing at a time and rotating, or 2 players coming in and then rotating as well. And I do like the Jurassic Park theme, but again, we'll see what happens. This might be replaced with a bigger machine. I'm trying to see if anybody, actually have this up for sale right now to see if anybody wants it before I decide if I want to upgrade to a 32-inch. But regardless, a light gun machine to rotate with your friends around the house is super, super fun to play. The next thing here coming in at number 13, and I'm not going to show it off right now and turn everything on just for this video right now because this really is a pain. I usually have it set up for parties. Basically, this whole entire area removes, and it is the Xbox Connect. Basically, I remove everything out of this rug area, and this whole rug area turns into the Xbox Connect area. And you got a TV there in the corner, and then you got the Xbox Connect sitting right here in white, and then you have the new Xbox One Connect sitting down there as well. And we play all those classic games like Dance Central, where you can play 4 players on the Connect, or Just Dance, or a bunch of other games that they have for 4 players on the Xbox Connect. There's actually quite a few variety of them that I have in my collection, and having this space over here to be able to play those 4-player games is obviously awesome. And I love playing the Xbox Connect. It's something that even still today, a lot of my friends that come over have never experienced before. They never got to connect and played those types of games. So to have them, you know, experience what the Xbox Connect kind of did, like with Xbox Connect Adventures and that game originally with 4 players with some of the modes, or Dance Central and stuff, is really unique to them. So I love being able to show people unique experiences that they don't get to see all the time, which is what I really like. And the Xbox Connect still does that for me. And it's still really fun to play, even though it's a really old piece of technology and a lot of people didn't like it when it came out. There's some really good games on there for 4 players and really unique games that, really showcase what that technology could have done if they kept going with it. So I still have a blast with it, and it still has a dedicated space in my area. Obviously, I just moved this stuff out of the way when we're ready to play. So Xbox Connect coming in at number 13. The next one here coming in at number 12 is trackball games. Obviously, trackball games really lend themselves to being able to play 4 players. And what we have on here is my trackball right here in the middle. And you have all of these different games that I have on here right now, like American Horseshoes, like Capcom Bowling, like the original Golden Tees, the classics that are on here. You got all of them right here. You got Shuffleboard. Shuffle Shot is really, really good as well. Shoes is one of my favorite games to play with 4 players. It's like horseshoes and stuff. Really, really good game. That one's really fun to play. You got the Simpsons Bowling and then World Class Bowling as well. I think the ones that we play the most on here is definitely Shoes and Shuffle Shot. Those 2 are really, really good. And like I said, trackball games on here, to being able to play with 4 players where everybody rotates in is a perfectly fun time to play with 4 players. Sometimes games support even more than 4 players. But yeah, it's really fun to be able to play trackball games on this thing and with your friends. So the trackball arcade machine coming in at number 12. The next one here coming in at number 11 has got to be my dartboard. Dartboard is one of the most popular things in the house when people come over. People love playing darts and stuff like that. And this is the Grand Board Edition. And what I really love about this one is obviously this list is all about 4-player multiplayer. You can actually play up to 8 players on this one locally with your friends, which is awesome when people come over. The dartboard lights up. You got a bunch of different mini games on here that you can play. You got local play, of course, and you can play all of these different things on here, like 301, 901, all of these different games on here. They also have other games here as well. Standard cricket and stuff like that. You got all these verses, like all the legs you can do. You got practice modes. You got the AI stuff. You got all these different party games as well. So a lot of variety in the actual different types of games that you can play. And this is an iPad that I'm using, but you could use any screen you want. The app works with this. But the reason I also like it, even though it has nothing to do with this video, is the fact that there's a camera system up there and you can actually play online with other players. So you can even do 2v2 now. You can actually bring 2 players at your home and play 2 other players online as well, which is really cool that they added here recently. But the fact that I can play darts at any time, because obviously, having a dartboard at home online by yourself without being able to play with others kind of sucks. So the fact that I can play with others online and we can see each other on video chat with the iPad camera, and then that's kind of tracking that so people know you're not cheating is really cool. And yeah, the dartboard is a great system to play with 8 players when they come over. We all sit here, we rotate, and play it. It's right next to my little bar setup that I showcased here in the room that we talked about before. And yeah, it works super well. Super, super fun. So dartboard coming in at number 11. The next one coming in at number 10 has got to be my pinball machines. And you're saying pinball is a 1-player thing, and absolutely it is not. Anybody who knows real pinball or virtual pinball, you can always play these games by adding 4 players. You can hit the start button 4 times to put in 4 credits, and then you'll basically rotate through trying to get the highest score, and each person goes 1 ball at a time. You rotate in, and then you get to play 4 players. And that really is a lot of fun, especially because the real pinballs that we have here are new to me. I just got these recently, as you guys know who follow this channel, and most of my friends haven't even seen these yet. Most of my friends don't go to arcades on a constant basis to see pinball machines, so their minds are going to be blown when they see it. And the fact that you can play 4 players rotating in is a lot of fun. I've done it with a couple of my cousins who have come over and seen this already, and it was a ton of fun. We did it with the ACT games as well, where you can do the same thing, rotate digital pinball with 4 players. And we're still missing that pinball machine that I've been talking to you guys for a while, but it should be shipping. Cross your fingers within the next week. So if it does, that will finally be in here, complete my pinball wall of 4 machines here. And really, really excited about that. But playing pinball with 4 players is just as fun as you would think. It doesn't have to be a 1-player experience. Playing with 4 players is actually super fun and really something to enjoy with your friends. So pinball coming in at number 10. All right, so the next one here coming in at number 9 is my Arcade 1-Up Infinity game table. This is a 32-inch version, as you can see here. I've done a lot of videos on this, as you guys know. And what I really like about this table is the fact that it's 32 inches, so it works well with 4 players. And you can see, you can actually just click 4 players at the top for all the games I own, and it will show you all the 4-player games. So there is a ton of 4-player games on here that you can play. I mean, just look at this. You got Dominoes, Monopoly, Oh No, which is very reminiscent of Uno. You got Candyland, you got Bowling Solitaire, which is a fantastic 4-player game. Crossy Word, Minesweeper, which is really fun with 4 players. A bunch of these different games that you can play with 4 players on here are all here. and it makes the table a ton of fun to play. So I think the Infinity Game Table is definitely a table that I play with 4 players a lot. So it's a ton of fun to play with 4 players, and it's definitely, you know, something that gets used a lot when 4 people are over. I love board games in this house, and whether it's real board games or digital board games, I like them both for different reasons. And this is a great ton of fun to play with 4 players surrounding the table, or sometimes more players, because some games do support more than 4. Like Hughes and Q's there in the middle supports 8, so you can have 8 people playing a game like this on the Infinity Game Table. So Infinity Game Table coming in at number 9. The next one here coming in at number 8 is my karaoke / Guitar Hero machine, as you can see here. And I've done a video on this before. This is Disney themed because it's in my Disney themed guest room, and I don't know what happened to Starstruck over there because it got really crooked. Favorite movie of all time. We got to fix that afterwards on what happened with that. There we go. Actually, it's still crooked. I got to fix that later. But anyway, the karaoke machine here is what we're specifically talking about, because Clone Hero is for 2 players. But karaoke, even though it's for, you can play and rotate through, same exact idea. And that's what we do a lot here. It's not just me saying this stuff. It's because that's what we do in this house. People love karaoke as much as I do. So we come in here and we play some karaoke. Obviously, a lot of Disney-themed songs are here being in this room, but there's songs for everything. It's not just Disney songs. It's everything you could think of. Over 3,000 songs on there. And the microphones are wireless, which is fantastic. They're the SingStar microphones that work with PC. And, you know, it works great. And you can play all of these different songs on here karaoke style. And, you know, rotate through, trying to get, again, it keeps track of your high scores and local leaderboards and stuff. So it really is fun to, you know, try and see who can get the highest score. Sometimes we do 2 players at a time, and then whoever gets the highest score gets out, and the next person comes in. It just depends on what we're doing at the party. But we always have a ton of people kind of chilling in here, waiting on the bed for their turn, listening to other people sing, and then we rotate in and out. So it's just a great party machine for 4+ players to be able to play and rotate through. Everyone knows about karaoke. It's super fun to play. So karaoke at number 8. So the next one here coming in at number 7, and yes, I know I don't have the full thing set up right now because it's all stored away until there's big parties and stuff. But I do have the guitar sitting here, and that is Rock Band 4. We play it here on this gigantic projector here in the living room, as you can see here. And if I take you guys to the back of the projector screen, because I'm about to use it to watch the 49ers play a game. Go 49ers, but you can see back here, there's the Xbox Series X in the back there, and that's what we use to play Rock Band 4. And then we have 2 guitars. This is just one of them. The other one is downstairs, and the Rock Band drums are stored away, but we do have the Rock Band drums. So when we have parties and stuff like that in 4 players, obviously Rock Band is a perfect game for that because you have 2 players on guitars. Then you have the Rock Band drums, so that's the 3rd player, and the 4th player does the singing with a microphone. So it is a fantastic time to be able to play Rock Band on this gigantic projector here, as you guys are looking at. Everyone, you know, singing, playing Rock Band and drums. And obviously a lot of your friends have probably played Rock Band before, but a lot of them haven't played in a while because Rock Band hasn't been around for such a long time, even though now it came back a little bit because now you can play Rock Band with guitars, you know, or very reminiscent of Rock Band in Fortnite, which is just insane. But anyway, that's not a 4-player experience. That's more of a single-player online experience with your other friends, which is still cool. But it's not the same thing as having 4 players jamming out like you're all in a band together at home, which is super cool. And it's still one of the best things to play at a party. So that comes in at number 7. The next one here coming in at number 6 has got to be my Golden Tee machine, but it's not just a Golden Tee machine. It is a combo machine that also has the arcade collection on there. So all of these games can play 4 players, but specifically the one that gets played the most is Silver Strike Bowling. It is the best board game it is the best bowling game in the arcade I've ever played. There it is. Welcome right there.
To Silver Strike Bowling. Hi, I'm Matt Kern.
You can play up to 8 players.
Peterson, holder of 13 career titles. Over to you, Randy.
Thanks, Matt. It's great to be here. I'm about as happy as a chubby kid in a cotton candy factory. Welcome to Score Highlands.
So it looks great over here playing it. You can see this is Silver Strike Bowling, and it's just such a fantastic trackball game to play where you're moving your player around, as you can see here, and then going.
Oh my gosh, what is this guy doing?
Doing that with one hand. See what happens when you do something with one hand?
Bowler, ready to go.
Let's try this again. There we go.
And
I missed.
3 left in that frame. Top of frame 2.
I promise you I'm not that bad when we play in real life, but I can't do this with one hand right now. But you guys get the idea. Silver Strike Bowling is one of my favorite games. It's the reason that I got this double machine like you guys are seeing here. The arcade collection also has Target Toss Pro and Power Pub Golf, which obviously you can use and play with up to 8 players as well, or some of them, I think Power Putt might be 4, but either way, regardless, this is such a fantastic machine. It's one of the most played machines in the house as well. Silver Strike Bowling being number 1 in the household for sure, and it's super, super fun, and happy to have this in my collection. And it's a great local multiplayer machine because all 4 of these games, Target Toss, Silver Strike, and Power Putt and Golden Tee, all support 4 players. And speaking of, we switch rack to the other screen, and now we have Golden Tee on the other input on HDMI 1, because Arcade Collection runs on HDMI 2, and Golden Tee runs on HDMI 1, so you just rotate the TV. And here we are with Golden Tee sitting right here, ready to go. This is the 2022 version, but I am getting I did order the is it 2024 or 2025? Whichever the newest one is coming out in October, I should be getting that. I skipped last year, but I am getting this year to get all the courses. So I'll be essentially getting 10 new courses, 5 from this year and 5 from last year, because I don't have either one of those. So excited to see what those courses are like, but yeah, Golden Tee is a fantastic 4-player game, and especially because they have different modes for 4 players. You don't have to play like the long version if you don't want to.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Golden Tee.
Actually, 2025, there it is, advertising. Golden Tee 2025, start golfing October 7th. So there you go. You can choose how many golfers you're playing with. If I were, example, to choose 4, you could do casual. And you could do the regular 18 holes, but then you could do a faster game, which is closest to the pin, where you just shoot, and whoever gets closest to the pin goes. And then you can also do skins as well, which is really fun. So, again, great game to play with 4 players, and it is super, super fun. Golden Tee coming in at number 5. The next one here, coming in at number 4, has got to be my bubble hockey machine. This thing is themed to the Devils and the Rangers. Go Devils, of course. Fuck them Rangers. But, this is such a fun machine, the fact that I had this in my home. This is actually the first arcade thing I bought when I purchased this house. The first thing that I bought was literally this. This was in the house before a lot of things, and I have fun with it. The only thing that sucks is, of course, you need to have other players playing. So if I'm here by myself, it's not something you can play on your own, but that's why I love playing it with 4 players when they come over, because 2 people go on one side and 2 people go on the other, and you're controlling the different plays and you're playing some hockey. I know a lot of friends who are hockey fans, Devils and Ranger fans, so we have a ton of fun with the rivalry going back and forth. This is, of course, a Super Checks machine, so it's very high quality. Haven't had any issues with it. I've owned this thing for 10 years now at this point, and it looks just as good as new as the first day. It's fantastic, and it's super fun. It is much harder than foosball, as a lot of people have said when they come over. But if you're a hockey fan, bubble hockey in your room is fantastic, especially if you have a theme to one of the NHL teams like I did, which is super awesome. So bubble hockey coming in at number 4. The next one coming in at number 3 has got to be my Buck Hunter Reloaded machine. I mean, this game is all about playing with 4 players. You can play, obviously, 2 players against each other, like you can see here with the 2 guns, but they also have modes, again, where you're playing 4 players and you're rotating with 1 gun and you're going and deer hunting and stuff like that, and you're trying to get the highest score. So it's kind of the same idea where you're rotating 1 person at a time, but that's honestly, this is the #1 most played machine in the house right now. I don't know if things will change when people see this new room that you guys are getting a sneak preview of that I haven't actually showed on YouTube yet, but you've seen some of it a little bit now, but you haven't seen the full thing. But yeah, Big Buck Hunter Reloaded is the most played machine in the house. It's something I won't ever get rid of because people love this machine, and so do I. And the fact that I can either play online with other players, because I do have the online for this, you can play with other players around bars, which always keeps the game interesting. But it has a bunch of different modes in the game, especially with the new stuff that they added here recently, with 2 different types of animals to be able to hunt. And then they added, you know, the Walking Dead full game onto here. I hope that they keep doing that. I hope that in next year's version that they keep adding more stuff to it, because that's exactly what they should do, and I'll keep purchasing it if they do that, the updates. But fantastic game for 4 players. Lights up, and the light show is awesome. Everything being lit up. It's just an awesome experience, and it's great to play with 4 players. I'm sure you guys all know about Big Buck Hunter, and this is a great one to have in your collection for 4 players and for local multiplayer. And the next one here coming in at number 2, we're back at my 4-player machine, but of course we're talking about the fact that it is a 4-player machine. And I've done a couple of videos on this already. This is a fantastic machine that has a bunch of different games that you can play with 4 players on the Dreamcast. We got the trackball games we talked about before. We got Windows games. The only things that are on this machine are things that are for 4 players. I don't have any games on here that aren't for 4 players. This is specifically a 4-player machine only. So you'll only find 4-player games on here. So for the GameCube, for example, you're only going to find things that you can play with 4 players, like Super Smash Brothers, Super Mario Strikers, NHL Hits Pro, NHL 2K3, NFL Street, you know, all the different games that you would expect to find on a 4-player machine. And same thing with the other categories like the Switch and the PlayStation 3 and the Dreamcast and stuff, and Windows stuff. Windows only has, again, things that you can play with 4 players on here, and this is a 4K screen, so the games on here look fantastic. There's so many good 4-player games that you can play on the arcade sticks that just work really, really well. That you wouldn't know work on 4-player arcade sticks well, but they really, really do. And it's a lot of fun to play these games, you know, on 4-player arcade sticks. And you can see all the different good ones on here. And you can't forget about, you know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a great 4-player machine. It actually has not been used by 4 players yet, except for me when I test the 4 players to make sure everything is working. But I can't wait for 4 friends to come over here in the next week or so for us to be able to play 4-player games on this brand new pedestal machine with the TV on top. It's going to be a fantastic time. I've been wanting one of these machines for a while. For 4 players. I used to have the NBA Jam that's sitting right next to it that's being sold off, but it was never big enough for 4 players, so it was never really used. But this one being like, you know, basically double in length is really going to make it. And the fact that players 1 and 2 have 8 buttons and they have 6 on here, where NBA Jam only had 4, which basically eliminated a lot of games, makes this a much more fun machine to play. So the 4-player arcade machine coming in at number 2. And the last one here coming in at number 1 is probably not going to be a shock to most people, and that is the Nintendo Switch console. I mean, this thing was built for 4 players. It's what a lot of videos that I do every year are top local multiplayer games on the Nintendo Switch for a reason, and I still do that yearly because a lot of people enjoy that list. It's one of the most popular videos on this channel, and there's so many good 4-player games on the Switch. And yes, obviously I just showed you a 4-player arcade machine that I have some of those games on there, but those are only games that work on the arcade sticks. Not every game is going to work on the arcade sticks like that, where it's going to make more sense to play on an actual console with Joy-Cons. Like, there's a lot of good games like ARMS. It's such a fantastic party game, and you're not going to be able to play that without Joy-Cons. Or some of the Mario Party games require, you know, not just buttons, but actual motion controls. So it depends on what game you actually want to play on those arcade games. So a lot of the times we rely on the Switch because that just makes more sense for the game that we're trying to play. Like Everybody Switch is another game on here that is great for a party that you're not going to be able to play anything anywhere else but on the Switch. There's a lot of exclusives on here that are for 4 players, and I enjoy so many games on here, as you can see. I have a ton of games installed on this OLED Switch. There's my ARMS there that a lot of people hate on, but I love that game, especially, you know, playing multiplayer. But there's so many good games on here to play with 4 players, and the Switch is a perfect handheld for those 4-player experiences. And yeah, it's a 4-player local multiplayer machine, or sometimes 8 players, depending on how many Joy-Cons and what the games support. But if there was one thing I would recommend to somebody who just loves local multiplayer out there and loves playing with their friends, 4 players, and then there's no better thing on this list than a Nintendo Switch. All right, guys, so that is the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed that top 20 list. We're ending the video off here with some board games, because even though board games aren't an electronic or game-related item like the other things on this list, showcase because board games are fantastic games. So a little runner-up here for you guys, a little bonus one. Board games are fantastic, and you can see my board game collection behind me. Board games are some of the most fun things that you could do when your friends come over, and that's also something that we do a lot in this house. We have board game nights and stuff like that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this list. Again, I think this is a pretty unique list. I don't think a lot of people do a list like this. Let me know if there's other lists like this that you guys maybe want to see, or something different that you might want to see in the future that I haven't thought of. This is the coming part of the year, the end of the year, where we do a lot of these top lists, whether it be on the Quest, on VR, or PC VR, or on the PlayStation VR 2, or video games in general, or the Nintendo Switch, whatever it may be. There's a lot of these lists coming up, but if there's something you specifically want to see, make sure you leave that down in the comments. And again, hopefully you guys got something out of this list and you guys had fun like I did making this for you guys. And thank you guys for watching. Till next time.